Hi, welcome to Wilson Bridge. My name is Brian Drew, Senior Strategist.
And I'm Devin Meister, Content Director.
And today on Wilson Bridge, we're going to be talking about brand valuation. A lot of times when we talk about financial metrics around marketing and branding, we talk about ROI, things around campaigns, leads, and conversions. Today we're going to be talking about something a little higher level, in my opinion, and that's brand valuation. What got me thinking about it was actually the guy who produces this show, Jason. He brought up wanting to learn Chinese, and he said that it was actually really hard because it turned out that it was different letters that the Chinese use.
It is. Very different language. But also, if you look at marketers come into finance, a lot of times the finance language is completely foreign to marketers.
Correct.
And what they think they know, ROI is not really ROI.
Correct. And not just that, but I recently read I think it was a Forbes study that said only 13% of marketing executives believe that they're
leveraging the customer data effectively. So 87% of marketers are laggards when it comes to using their data effectively.
Correct. And so what does that have to do with brand valuation? Well, it's pretty simple. In order to use your customer data properly, you have to be able to understand your customer beyond the data they give you. You have to understand your brand. Your brand actually has to have power in it. Your brand valuation, the attributes of it are things like the speed at which you have adoption or identification. So how quickly can your brand be remembered? Not just the activities you use to expose your brand, but how quickly can people adopt, understand, remember what you sell and who you are. Your go-to-market speed. That's different than your adoption rate, right? That's also just how quickly can you take a new product to market? How quickly can you move into a new geography or into a new demographic? So what's your speed to going to market? What's the adoption or retention or name identification of your brand? And also brand power, price control. Can you charge a premium for your product because of your brand's power? All of those things help the value of the company. Your price, your power and price allows you to have higher margin and allows your EBITDA to be higher, which your EBITDA being higher, earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, appreciation, that helps the value, that controls the valuation, not controls, but that helps the valuation of your company. So your margin's important there. Your go-to-market speed allows you to sell more faster, and your adoption rate allows you to be able to introduce more products quickly. So all of that speed allows your brand valuation to be higher, and it actually, in the long run, drives a higher marketing ROI.
So I saw one figure that we've seen this a couple of different places, where up to 30% of a company's value can be attributed to its brand. Can they really put a figure on, the 30%? Is that based on, you also see 13% premium for brands, if they're a premium brand, and the 30%, what part of that is actually within a marketer's control, and how are they going to actually attribute that figure?
How would you figure out the
value? Yeah, where's the 30% come from when they say this contributes 30% to this brand value, and this is 20% of a brand value?
I think one really basic rudimentary way of calculating that is to take two products that are essentially comparable, not necessarily commodities, but say a brand name soda and a generic soda. And what is the natural price point for those two things? So let's say the generic soda is $1 and the brand name soda is $1.50. Okay. The brand is adding essentially 50% valuation to that one single price point. That's a part of calculating the value of the brand. There's issues with that too, right? Because some people might, in the soda example, some people might not prefer they don't want to drink generic, right? But if you could get to that level in a commoditized market where there really is no difference, that would exclusively be your brand. But even in the non-commodity space, so technology space like a smartphone, there are things about a Samsung phone that are better than an iPhone, right? iPhones have a higher price point, and are able to command the market share that they have because of brand loyalty to Apple.
Right.
So the premium that people are willing to pay is, I think, a go-to way of deciding what the valuation is. But there are other metrics. We kind of think of a brand first approach being everything that you communicate to your customers, everything you communicate to the outside has to do with the fact that your products are built out of a purpose-driven culture. So the culture of your company and the solutions you have, services you have, products you have are designed out of that brand first, purpose-driven culture. Because of that brand first, purpose-driven culture, your products, you talk about your products in a way where people can relate to them. You write about your services in a way in which people want to learn more. You're not just selling, but you're educating, and you're creating a relationship. That's really powerful stuff for creating brand valuation.
Yeah, and if you look at a lot of examples that people know, when people have that relationship with the brand, they don't mind paying the premium. Because if you look at Tom's shoes, for an obvious example, obviously the shoes don't cost what it costs to make them. The margins are pretty high. They're giving another pair of shoes to somebody in need someplace else. So people are willing to, eat that part of the margin, and in addition to another one, in order to have that experience with the brand.
Yeah. So get back to Jason, right? Thinking that Chinese was really hard because it was a different language. Mm-hmm. Customer data is a different language from maybe what's truly genuine and truly valuable about your brand message. So just trying to automate and personalize your way into a market, just trying to grow your business through campaigns that are off of marketing automation platforms, that are using data-driven marketing, that's all good stuff. But if you don't have a purpose-driven culture, if you don't have a story behind your brand, if you don't have a reason for people to want to have a relationship with your brand, you're going to be it doesn't matter how much data you have, it doesn't matter how much you're able to segment and personalize. It's going to be difficult because that data is not the language of your brand story. It's important, but it's not nearly, I don't even think it's half of the ability to run an effective campaign. The number one thing is being true to your personality, being true to your voice, and having a relationship with your customers that's conversational.
Mm-hmm. It's listening to the data or listening to the person and then understanding what their actual needs are. It's not just, bits and binary things coming in. You have to put an interpretation on that, and the marketing automation isn't going to do that.
And when we talk on our Wilson Bridge that talks about marketing automation, we talked about how a lot of senior level marketers don't feel like they're getting any results. They like certain aspects of their marketing automation platforms, but they can't seem to measure the return on what's happening, right? How is this really driving revenue? It's a big issue. There's a lot of money being wasted on MarTech where they have invested lots of money in professional services, lots of money in custom integration, lots of money in integrating lots of different systems together, having lots of different data sets talk to one another. The list goes on and on. But then what's going into the machine, the brand story, the brand, what we call, your brand first disposition, what's going into the machine isn't sticking, and it's not coming back. And that's because you're just trying to put inputs into it, spit it out, and hope that something comes back. That's not a very genuine way to talk to your customers. Every marketer talks today about how difficult it is. Every marketer says it's so noisy out there. It's so difficult to be heard. It's so difficult to compete. And I would wholeheartedly agree. The MarTech, marketing technology space, has said the answer to that is buy more technology. More data, more technology gives you more automation and more personalization, and that will get you through the chaos. In reality, it's just making you noisier. You're not actually rising above the chaos or rising above the noise. You're just contributing to it.
Yeah, you're still just having a short-term conversation, bits and about like a party conversation, as opposed to a long walk type conversation where you're having a relationship and back and forth with the actual customer.
Exactly, and that's where brand first comes in,
and purpose,
and having a purpose-driven culture.
Exactly.
So Don't be Jason.
Don't be Jason,
It's okay to learn another language,
but keep trying.
even if it's different characters.
It is.
And anyway, all right, that's all the time we have. Thank you so much. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
Thanks.